On July 6, 2001, a 75-year-old gentleman is referred for retinal detachment 2 weeks after cataract surgery. Cornea is edematous and dilatation is poor. Right after the introduction of the endoscopic probe, panoramic viewing capacity allows to evaluate the whole situation in a few seconds, without the need for setting any optical system, nor for scleral indentation. One realizes that the anterior flap of the 180 superior giant tear is constituted not only of the anterior retina, but also of the ciliary epithelium, which has been ripped off until its juncture to the ciliary processes, and white bare sclera is visible from inside. What one sees is what is right ahead of the probe, which is now located under the retinal ciliary flap. The whole vitreous is retracted anteriorly and locked to the anterior flap, as always in giant tears. Again, the probe is located under the retinal ciliary flap. Posterior border of the giant tear is rolled. It doesn't seem pathologically connected to anterior structures, but superiorly at 12 o'clock, facing the anterior segment wound, endoscopy demonstrates that vitreous is incarcerated into the posterior lens capsule, with a stiff strand tracting the ciliary epithelium, which explains why it was detached until the ciliary processes basis. Ciliary epithelium is dissected along with the anterior retinal flap. On the temporal edge, anterior retina and ciliary epithelium are aspirated as well. A peristaltic vitrectomy machine is being used. Flow is at 5 cc per minute. Linear vacuum is limited to 100, and cut rate at 180. In order to try to reduce attractions and to limitate increase of the ciliary detachment, speed is increased at 350, but high magnification endoscopic viewing demonstrates that it does not change much. Superior sclera is now bare interiorly after aspiration of anterior flap and ciliary epithelium. Retina is flattened under PFCL, but the posterior nasal edge does not unroll completely. Although vitrectomy seemed achieved under panoramic viewing, high magnification endoscopic viewing demonstrates that some anterior vitreous cortex is remaining between retina and PFCL bubble, and that pigmented clumps are deposited along the posterior attachment of the anterior vitreous base. Both are the components for development of subsequent anterior PVR. Tano diamond scraper has to be used to detach the clamps. Some vitreous cortex is remaining as well at the temporal edge of the giant tear. Its complete dissection is actually limited not by viewing, thanks to high magnification provided by endoscopy, but by the shape and dimensions of the vitreotom window itself. Rolled posterior edge is diathermized and retinectomized. Cryo is applied along the edges and the posterior border of the giant tear. Endoscopy allows to visualize and to eliminate pigmented clumps liberated by cryo, facing the pars plana, which is now sclera. Direct PFCl silicone oil exchange is performed. Small bubbles are easily visualized whatever the transparency of the anterior segment at the end of the procedure. The anterior cavity is filled with oil. All connections to anterior segment, potential causes of redetachment, have been suppressed under high magnification. Silicone oil was removed on September 21 after a scarce PRP has been performed. At last follow-up examination on April 30, 2002, visual acuity was 20/25. The patient was complaining of photophobia. There is a slight retraction of internal limiting membrane, but there is no complaint of metamorphopsia.